if the New York Rangers are looking to acquire another top 9 caliber forward to really kind of provide some great scoring depth on this New York Rangers team, there is one very solid forward left available in this year's NHL free agency that could be a pretty good fit for this team, and that forward is Daniel Sprong. I would say he's the clear best forward available in free agency currently. A lot of the top guys have already signed, Gensel, you've got Lindholm, there are so many other great forwards, Marcia So, Matt Duchene, a lot of them have already signed for the most part there, but there is still one in particular who I think could be a great fit for this New York Rangers team to provide some great scoring depth, but just be a pretty solid top 9, realistically more of a kind of a middle 6 guy who could play on the second line or third line there for this team, but could be a great scoring right winger for this squad. Now, it would make the most sense to acquire him if the Rangers were to trade away Kakko, but either way, he could be a decent fit on this team, especially depending on how the Rangers feel with a guy like Brendan Othmann there. Do they want to have him starting right away? Either way, they could sign a guy like Sprong in there and still have Othmann start on this team, but if a guy like Kakko was traded, there would definitely be a spot available for someone like Daniel Sprong. And now taking a look here at the article, kind of talking about Daniel Sprong being a possible good fit here for the Rangers, they say the newest potential fit for him, being Daniel Sprong, comes to us from Arthur Staple of The Athletic, who proposes that the New York Rangers could make a run at the 27-year-old. Staple calls the winger an, quote, intriguing possibility for the Blue Shirts as a replacement for Kaapo Kakko should they wind up trading the former first-rounder this summer, as has been discussed. And there definitely has been some kind of, rumors floating around there, but possibly looking to trade away Kakko. Apparently the offers weren't the best coming back for Kakko there, so maybe he doesn't get moved, but either way, I definitely think if he does get moved, it would be a great kind of fit to kind of take that spot of Kakko there on that third line. And even if not, though, would still not be a bad idea kind of for a depth move there, but it might limit a guy like Brendan Othmann or Brett Berard or some other kind of young guys as well, getting some more playing time possibly somewhere on that third line. They also end up saying in the article, he notes a connection to Rangers head coach Peter Laviolette, who coached Sprong with the Washington Capitals for a couple seasons. Quote, so perhaps the coach's familiarity could help make a match. And that makes sense there. I mean, we saw that with a guy like Eric Gustafsson, who the Rangers head coach, Peter Laviolette, coached with the Washington Capitals as well for a year there. Then he ends up getting signed last offseason by the Rangers for a 1-year deal. Ended up playing some pretty good hockey this past season under Peter Laviolette, especially in the first half of the season. Kind of cooled down near the second half, but it could make a bit of sense there for the Rangers to go after a guy who Peter Laviolette is quite familiar with and has already coached in the past as well. Taking a look, though, I do think it would make a bit of sense there for the Rangers to, try and trade away a guy like Kaapo Kakko, get some assets back in return, whether it is, draft picks, prospects, or a young player possibly. Maybe it's a pick and a prospect or a young player and a pick. Whatever it is, something like that, getting back some good assets, whether it is, picks, prospects, or player, it would make a bit of sense there, especially if it is draft picks there, because the Rangers have used up a lot of their draft picks, in the future as well. We don't have a second round for the next 3 years, so trying to go out there and get a third and a fourth round pick, or maybe it's a third and a prospect or a fourth and a prospect, whatever it is, could make a lot of sense there for the Rangers, especially if it is more future pieces there. And not only are you getting some assets back in return if you trade Kakko, but you're also opening up a spot there so you can bring in a guy like Sprong, who I think as of right now, especially unless, Kakko ends up kind of bouncing back there and has a 40-plus point season, a guy like Sprong there is a better player as of right now, I would say, than someone like Kakko. Like I said, unless Kakko ends up having a bounce back season, which is definitely possible. Kakko is still very young, and I do believe he has the potential to be, that 40 kind of point type player, being a good two-way guy, but we know he's not a very, overall consistent player at moments, and, the overall skating ability isn't the best there. He's not, some crazy physical guy. He doesn't really help on the PK at all for the Rangers there either, so, being a solid two-way guy is great and all, but there's not a ton of scoring with him. Obviously, we saw that one really good year. We had that 40-point season on that kid line. He played pretty good that season, but this past year ended up kind of regressing a bit from that great 2022-2023 season alongside Hedl and Lafreniere. So maybe he can bounce back. I still think it's possible, but if the Rangers want to kind of cash in now, get some decent assets back in return, a prospect, pick, whatever it is, bring some draft picks, and we definitely know we need some going forward as well. Would not be a bad idea. And then also open up the rough spot for someone like Sprong there. You can have a third line of Othmann, Hedl, and Sprong. That could be a great kind of scoring third line there, and have 3 lines that can really do a great job offensively. Othmann also brings some physicality there and a bit of a two-way game to help on that third line as well. So I think it could be a great kind of top 9 there, providing some great depth as well. Could be a very smart decision. But taking a look here A guy like Daniel Sprong is a good goal scorer and playmaker. He has put up some phenomenal numbers the past 2 seasons, especially on some very limited amount of ice time. This past season averaged 12 minutes per night, and the season before that, back in 2022, 2023, averaged only 11 minutes and 25 seconds per night. That is like a true kind of bottom six, fourth line at moments kind of amount of ice time there, but he is still producing at a very, very good level. This past season ended up having 76 games played, 43 points, 18 goals, 25 assists. Not too bad there at all. A lot of it did come at even strength as well, which is important. And the previous season back in 2022, 2023 with the Kraken, he ended up having 66 games played, 21 goals, 25 assists, 46 total points. So once again, did a great job at producing offensively at even strength and has done so in a very limited amount of ice time. So I think that's something that is very important as well. Could also help a bit out on the second power play and play a bit of a physical game. Nothing too crazy there, but definitely not a soft player. He consistently puts up, 30 plus hits per season while playing, for the most part, like 60 to 70 games. So not too bad there. Not going to be some crazy physical guy out there, but definitely not a soft player. Can lay the body a bit and just provide some great scoring depth for this team. I also think his next contract is probably going to be something around a 2-year deal with a $3 million cap hit. I'd imagine it could also be like a 1-year deal at around $3 million because this is a guy who doesn't seem like he's getting offered, I would imagine, nothing too long-term and not too high of a cap hit. So he probably wants to have another season or two of really kind of proving himself to be a consistent, 40-plus point kind of guy because he really has only had 2 great seasons, you could say, this past year and the season before that back in 2022, 2023 of producing, 40-plus points per season. So he's done a great job there, done so in a limited sample size, ice time-wise, but having another year or two of producing 40-plus points could really kind of up his value in next offseason or the one after that could really get a kind of decent long payday there. Maybe it is like a $4 million cap for like 5 years possibly. He could be one of those kind of guys. So I think you might want to kind of have a short-term deal there, 1 or 2 year deal at around $3 million per season. Might be a smart idea for him to kind of cash in potentially long-term in the future at some point if he can prove himself to really be a consistent 40-plus point player. Anyways, though, if you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button for more daily New York Rangers content. I post every single day, so if you're a Rangers fan, this is the place to be. I really appreciate it as well. It helps with the channel a ton if you hit that like and subscribe button. It costs absolutely nothing. And also, don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on the Rangers possibly trading away a guy like Kaapo Kakko, who does have 1 year left at a $2.4 million cap, but he did sign that contract this offseason. He'll be an RFA at the end of that contract, but could be a decent player to move away, get some assets back in turn, whether it's a prospect, a pick, a young player, whatever it is. Could be a smart move there for the Rangers. And Daniel Sprong's next contract would probably cost about the same thing as what Kakko is currently making, so it could work out quite well cap-wise. So let me know your thoughts on this possible deal that could happen at some point throughout this offseason. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.